You remember Melissa Click, that University of Missouri, whatever, caught on tape threatening reporter covering a protest?
Hi, media. Can I talk to you?
No, you need to get out.
Well,
you need to get out.
No, I don't.
You need to get out.
I actually don't.
All right. Hey, who wants to help me get this reporter out of here? I need some muscle over here.
She reminds me of that prop comic. Anyway, she resigned her courtesy appointment with the school, which raises a question: what is a courtesy appointment? And who is it being courteous to? She seems as courteous as a hemorrhoid. So how did this start? Well, a swastika appeared on a bathroom wall, a murky incident, much like many hate crimes on campus, which often end up as hoaxes. There were two other incidents causing students to demand safe spaces from the press that they seek. It's a blooming onion of idiocy.
You need to back up. Respect the students. Back.
I am a student. You and I do my job.
Hey, from the phone. Reporter. Hey, go home. You think it's funny? Give me some.
This is the First Amendment that protects your right to stand here, protects mine. Respect all this because I have a job to do. Yeah. We don't care about your job.
They have a life to live. They have an education to get and a life to live.
I'm a
Please
student
live.
too.
But sir, these are more students who are asking you.
You're pushing me.
It's our right to walk forward, isn't it?
Someone should hire that reporter.
Yeah.
How odd that protest used to be about free expression, but now it's about silencing it. Stalin must be smiling. Now, all this led to a boycott by the school's 4-5 football team. But you want to bet they wouldn't have boycotted if they were 9-0? I guess it's easy to be celibate when you're homely. And there's the student hunger striker yakking about white privilege, but his pop's an executive who made $8 million last year. How's that for privilege? But the students won. Mizzou's president Tim Wolf resigned, an example of a cowardly implosion when faced with the intolerant mob. They deserve each other. So I'm thinking, if they want a space that's free of free speech, why not give them one? Segregate the wise from the witless. And since their skill set is petulant self-obsession, these idiots will ultimately turn on each other. It'll be Lord of the Flies, just dumber. All right, we've been discussing, what did she resign from? Eric, did she resign from an actual job?
I think she's still a professor. I think she was teaching in the communications department. She had an honorary title in the media department.
And the journalism school.
In the journalism school, I'm sorry. So she gave that up for obvious reasons.
Yes.
Number one, the First Amendment that she was clearly trying to violate there. This, by the way, the same First Amendment that allows the protesters to be there, she was trying to use against the student journalists. Day 3 now, and I'm still waiting for Juan to come up with something besides the questionable swastika incident and one racial word thrown at one of the leaders of the Black Caucus. One instance got 2 people fired. As far as I know, I haven't read any more, but feel free to enlighten me.
Well, I didn't even mention the swastika yesterday. But I mean, to me, it's like you're... I think you're trying to minimize the complaint coming from the black students. But let me just tell you something. It's Jewish students. It was graduate students. It was the people in the Missouri legislature. It was the governor. All said, you know what? The leadership at this school is failing. And then the black kids said, even when we tried to get access to the president, to someone to talk to, say, listen, we're having problems. We don't feel safe on this campus.
I'm not going to eat.
They wouldn't talk to him.
Well, that's right. They had a guy had a
I have a stack here.
The kid that wanted white privilege to be announced, his father made $8 million.
Yeah, it's incredible. But
he's a railroad executive.
Let's inject some common sense in here. This is a stack of complaints about that have occurred in schools in the last years that have to do with hate crimes. Each one of these cases turned out to be a hoax. I stopped counting them, but there are dozens of them. And when you hear about these things and there's no way to prove them, Kimberly, and people resign, it's a farce.
Well, because perception becomes reality, but it's basically a fraud that's happening because they say, oh, well, this happened, and then, okay, well, now I'm going to stand in solidarity because no one does their homework to actually investigate what the facts are, and it becomes like rumor and innuendo and speculation.
You guys are just trying to minimize this. Remember,
we're trying to get to the facts.
No, we're maximizing lies. If it's a lie, you go after it. And by the way,
what lie? What lie? I'm telling you,
out of 37,000 students, there are maybe 3 3 incidents, if they are real, that is not an endemic problem.
Okay,
Juan.
if that's the way you define the problem, I would agree with you, Greg, but that's not the reality. So what you're doing at the
Show
table
me the stats.
I'm saying to you, when you get 19 deans at the school saying we don't support not only the president but the chancellor, something's wrong in that
Yes, it's called cowardice.
No, it's
They
not.
are cowards.
How about they're
They are
looking out for
scared
themselves?
of being called
They're-
bigots.
I don't think that
we
this
are
was
in a
just about
situation here
race.
where if you don't agree with activists, you are called a bigot.
This is
all
not-
of those administrators
True.
folded because they were
Under
scared.
pressure.
This is not just about race. And that's what I think you guys are missing.
It's about identity.
Bad leadership
I
at
agree.
the school.
I agree with that. Let's get Dana in here. What I love about this, there are 2 great things about it. You actually see the culmination of identity politics, where the administrators and the students devour each other, and everybody gets to watch.
Yeah, your Lord of the Flies reference is a good one. For example, last night in the debate when Marco Rubio talked about welders and philosophers, now there's even a debate about that. But what he could have said actually is welders and then people who study things like what she was teaching in her courtesy class, involving like 50 Shades of Grey. That was like a study of that. The impact of social media and fans' relationship with Lady Gaga, because that is really going to help you in life. Here's another thing. Can I just say on the low information student voter issue? The graduate students are furious. What were they furious about? They were mad because their health care costs were no longer being covered by the university. Why is that, Juan?
Because of the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
Oh.
So it's President Obama's fault. And
No, it's not
Pelosi's
his
fault.
fault.
Because
Obamacare.
it's in the bill. No Republican voted for it, so I guess that's how we could identify.
See the gross campaign of misinformation? That's what's so
Oh, I
ridiculous.
see.
No, but my
And
point
when
is-
they
my
reinstated
the
it
reason I
later,
pointed that
whose
out-
fault was it then?
No, the reason I point that out is that the grievances are out of proportion with the results of what happened.
That's what you were
Of course.
saying.
You know, I agree.
You're saying, I'm saying.
I agree with your argument about free speech and what's going on at Yale and elsewhere. An abomination. But don't ignore people who tell you something's racial or something.
But it has to be real. It has to be real. It has to be based on some actual
President Obama
fact or
guilty
something
of white
that really
privilege?
happened.
Could be.
I don't know. Anyway, I love the idea that they're creating sanctuary cities that ban free speech. That's incredible.